During my time, we had reduced them to 5. I didn't know that they've reduced them further now. But I think 5 is more than adequate. And many a time, we had a situation, because of seniority, specialization, we reward all these things. So many a time, we had a person in a lower grade being the boss of somebody who's in a higher grade. You know, it's like the Israeli Air Force. I don't know whether you know that. The Israeli Air Force, where they take missions, combative missions, it's always led by the pilot who at that moment of time is looked upon as the best to lead that mission. Even his bosses and his bosses' bosses, air marshals and so on, fly under him. So the operational efficiency is not sacrificed by the hierarchy.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
First of all, as Siddharth just mentioned, extremely delighted listening to you. And thank you so much for being here. My name is Palash, and I am a student of second year MBA. My question is a little long, so kindly pardon me for that.
Yeah, as long as I don't forget the beginning of this question by the time you finish it.
I'm sure you won't, sir. Sir, since I've known that you also are involved in the CSR activities of Tata Group, so it is a little related to that. Tata Group is one of those rare organizations that is in line with its tagline known for leadership and trust. And in this era when organizations are perceived to be overly focused on profits rather than societal welfare, what in your tenure were the difficulties or challenges that you faced in maintaining this image? And the second part of my question is...
First part itself will take the whole afternoon, but anyway. I'll cut it short, yeah. What is your second one?
The second is, what are your views about companies greenwashing CSR and using it as a marketing tool rather than it being a state of being? And how do we deal with such a blatant and unreasonable approach?
The second one is to be strongly deplored, so to speak. I associated with the formation of the new company law. The government, in their wisdom or lack of wisdom, appointed me in 2006 as the chairman of the committee which will propose the new company law. And this business about giving 2% of your profits is totally, in my opinion, wrong. First of all, 2% is a ratio. In the years that you make a very good profit, you spend 100 crores. And next year when you make 5 crores, you make 2% of that. So that means the allocation of funds is fluctuating widely. It's totally incorrect. What they could have done is to say that you increase it by a certain amount or go along that path. I went and argued with the minister that I showed him figures where Tata Steel in a bad year, where the profit was low, had spent as much as 21% of its profit on the CSR activities. And the next year, which was a good year, the amount spent was more or less the same, but it was only 0.02%. So from 21%, we had come down to 0.02. So to say that you spend 2%, it is, in my opinion, not practical. And people will do lots of things. They've already started doing things which are not conducive to good CSR. And I saw in Bombay the other day, big advertisements put up by a particular industrial house about their activity. And at the bottom was a little mention, this is a CSR activity. This means not what they are depicting, but the fact that they are advertising. So crores worth of advertising would be charged to CSR. That's not the purpose. Okay, now I've forgotten your first question.
Sir, what were the challenges that you faced during your tenure in maintaining the leadership and trust image of Tata Group?
I think that's a lifetime thing. It's not at the start, and most of the Tata people, by the way, all the Tata people have not, shall we say, maintained that image. And you might have heard of some scams even in the Tata Group. The biggest one was about 15 years ago, where a company, Tata Finance, in fact, vanished, right? Because the chief executive there had taken some improper steps. And what did the Tatas do? They did not try to whitewash or push it under the table or under the carpet. They pursued that chief executive till he went to jail, right? And he put him in jail. And as far as those who had lost their monies, even even without the need to do it according to law, we would give them proper compensation. Those who had shares in the company which were not dead, we paid them at the share value which existed when the scam started. Those who had contracted with the company, bought trucks and things like that on loans which were from the company, we stood by that, we continued that. Like that, nobody suffered excepting the Tata Group. We dipped into other pockets, legally of course, and from our other companies, and made good whatever the losses which had been generated by that one gentleman, if I can call him a gentleman. Right? It wasn't several hundred crores, but we made good all those. So that's the price you have to pay when you want to maintain your name. In my own small world, there was a case where a gentleman in the center, a minister, told me across the table that here's your sanction ready, you must pay me so much. Right? So I said, well, I can't do that. I mean, we don't do it. So you ask Mr. Tata, Junior that is, and come back tomorrow. I asked two people. Mr. Tata, of course, whose answer was obvious. He said, Jamshed, why do you even ask me? We can't do that. And the second one was the treasurer of the party to which this gentleman belonged. That is this for a party for which we can give money in a legal form, sign a check. He says, his exact words were, Sala bahut bada chor hai, humko ek paisa nahi denga. This was the treasurer of the party telling me. So I went back to the minister next day and I said, sorry, I can't do it. He put us into any amount of trouble. We finally finished up with legal procedures costing much more, 10 times as more than what the gentleman had demanded right at the beginning. But we would not go away, we would not stray from our principles.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste. Well, this is Janvi Sunaya. And sir, I wanted to know about the relevance of emotional intelligence in the present times when I'm working in a corporate.
Emotional intelligence is what I think, to be quite honest, too much has been made of it. Right? All that I've talked about Tatas is in fact emotional intelligence. We will not allow our name to be sullied, and we will not stray away from our principles. What Mr. Ratan Tata has said very clearly, and put it very well, that if you hold a gun to my head, you have one of two choices. You either pull the gun away, take it away, or you pull the trigger. Because I will not move my head. My head will stay where it is. Only one person in recent memory has pulled the trigger. That is the lady in charge of Bengal, right? Which was, by the way, to the good of this state, huh? Because from Singur to Sanan, that's the story.
Good morning, sir. First of all, I would like to thank you for gracing us with your presence. We are really honored for that. My name is Apurva Mittal. I'm a student of MBA first year. My question is, we often during our MBA lose contact with our books. So
lose contact with?
With our textbooks, with our books.
I didn't follow.
So during our MBA, we often lose contact with the textbooks,
the
theoretical knowledge.
Yeah, okay.
So how much do you think this theoretical knowledge is practically applicable when we enter our professional life?
Not done away with the simple graph, right? On the y-axis is the percentage of time. This is a well-balanced career, by the way. Percentage of time that you spend And on the x-axis is your age. This is the start of your career here, and this is retirement. Now, what I consider as a well-balanced, shall we say, career is where you start with 100% of your time paid working in the area of your specialization, knowledge. If you're a metallurgist, metallurgy. If you're a doctor, medicine and so on. So this is at the start of your career, and it's the area where you are specializing. Over time, you become outdated. In my opinion, 3 years is a reasonable time because things are moving so fast that what you know about steel today, 3 years later it will be outdated. It will remain, but it will be replaced by something superior. And so you will have time to spend in two other areas. One, right from the start, will be the community, very important for executives. You must take some interest in the community in which you work. And the other, which will also come up, will be your other interests, family and so on, right? So it will be other interests. Over time, somewhere midway through your career, you will have become completely outdated, and you can no longer contribute. For example, I was telling somebody this morning that I cannot contribute in iron and steel now. I've been outdated, right? So I've reached that zero level. And other things will come up, and then these two will also, shall we say, deteriorate, and 100% of your, an increasing amount of time will be spent. I don't know how many of you can guess what that quadrant is. This is a successful career, and I have jokingly called it L&D, lunches and dinners, right? Because those are the bodies in which you have to make decisions. I can add golf there, or whatever else, physical exercises, whatever else the senior executives want, because that ultimately is the sign of success, where you are taking decisions and consultations with others of your discipline or with even outside. So this is a breakup of a well-balanced career. There are some who will continue to be in the, shall we say, area of specialization, who don't want additional responsibilities. I have had people who are, shall we say, keen to continue with their specialization. Medical doctors is a classical example, even metallurgists. I have a colleague who wanted to spend all his time in steel making. Don't give me an additional administrative responsibility. We compensate them in salary. This is one case where the person will earn much more than his boss, but he will continue in this thing of his liking. When you promote a person outside his area of interest, you lose in two ways. You lose a good person in the area in which he is, and you get a lousy person in the higher area because he's no good as an administrator. So you lose both ways. So we will allow that. And then this, of course, is lunches and dinners, is the area where you have to take decisions. I could have added golf there also, but I'm not a golfer.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I'm an MBA student. Sir, yesterday I came across a news regarding Tata Steel. The article was like that the Tata Steel gets some approval for Odisha iron ore mine. Please, sir, can you please throw some light on that?
First of all, I don't take any interest in the administration of Tata Steel. As I said, the chief executive after he retires should quit and not try to hold on. That's point one. Point two is, yes, Tata Steel's, shall we say, foundation has been built on the fact that our forefathers from Jamshedji Tata downwards had the foresight to secure raw material supplies for us, both iron ore, coal, limestone, other minor materials also, like chrome ore and so on. And part of their success is on that basis. And we have long-term leases for 20 years, 25 years, but even 20, 25 years come to an end sometime. And under the new dispensation, the government says, go for an open bidding system. We think it is unfair because we have developed all that. But I can see that if one or two persons are interested in that, earlier nobody used to object. Now thousands are interested in the wealth which the country has given, which is underground. So we have to compete with the rest. But the government has had the sense to say that those who have already developed it will get certain preferences. What you're referring to is one of those. And we would certainly like to hold on to all, because after all, we are not going to stop making steel tomorrow. We need that material for the next 5, 20 years. The steel plant is going to keep on operating, and the raw materials for that, which our forefathers had gathered for us, now will have to be, shall we say, negotiated on commercial terms. But I think we will get certain. Government is not blind. The government does have a tendency, by the way, to do what I call throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You know, when there is something dirty, you want to throw it out. Supreme Court has done it. But in that something dirty, there is a baby also. You can't throw that out.
Good afternoon, sir. My question for you is, when decided under your leadership decided to reduce the number of employees by half, what was the mindset of your members and other fellow employees? The complete uncertainty, understand what will be the outcome of this. So I just want to know how difficult was to make other people understand.
The difficulty was with our unions, not with the board members. Board members didn't even question me. Right? We said that this is necessary. We put up a plan, and it was not reduction by half. Every year we used to, I had to mention that, every year we used to go with a different target. You know, 2,000, 3,000, 8,000, like that. So over a period of 10 years, all the summation of all these amounted to about 40,000. We didn't go with a plan right in the beginning that we want to reduce by 40,000. That would have been extremely stupid and dangerous, because we didn't know the answer ourselves. I gave you the example of my daughter's friend. There can be no greater emotional involvement like that. But then people realized two things. One was or personally my credibility, that I would not do something which is harmful to the company. That was the most important thing. We had established that earlier. The second was, we showed by our actions, we helped those people to get jobs. We are still giving them a pension. One of the things is that, conditions is that suppose a person was earning 1,000 rupees per month. We said we will give him for life 1,250 rupees for life. Of course, after 30 years, that 1,000 would have become maybe 30,000, and he would still keep on getting 1,250. But that was the deal. And he got a second job. So this was like an annuity to him. He earned in this, and having worked for Tata Steel, he didn't have much difficulty in getting another job, because having worked for Tata Steel itself is a certificate. So he got another job, and we helped him, by the way, to get those other jobs also. We set up certain agencies, certain search bodies, and tried to fit each one into a new job. And at the same time, kept on giving him the 1,250 rupees for lifetime. Yes, and another thing which we did, because he came to us and said, look, what if I die? My family will not be, will be. So what we did was that we assured the person that till his nominal retirement day, he would keep on getting that figure. It was like an insurance, because suppose now, in real life, the fellow died at the age of 50. His family would not get anything between the ages of 50 and when he would have become 60. Here we are now assuring him that whatever happens to him, if he survives, fine. If he dies also, his nominee will keep on getting that 1250. So it was like a insurance scheme.
Very good afternoon, sir. My name is Natansh Naidu, and I am from MTech Mechanical, first year. My question is, sir, that looking at the current R&D scenario in India,
Current R&D?
the current R&D scenario in India, there are many sectors, for example, the design, the aerospace industry, in which there are individuals who are willing to pursue research, but due to the limited access to the resources in our country, there are many difficulties which are being faced by these people. So what should an individual interested in these sectors do? Should we compromise with the other opportunities which are being offered to us in the manufacturing sectors and the other sectors in India? Or should we continue our passion towards our research?
It depends entirely on the individual. If he's passionate on doing research, then he has to balance against, shall we say, not getting sufficient remuneration and the passion of his life, which is research. It entirely depends upon him. And we cannot have a system where we will say, we have started a system in Tata's, by the way, where we go to only some specific bodies where we know good research is done, like the Indian Institute of Science, which is #1 in research, and some others, where we say that, look, for the first 3 years after a person has opted to join us, we will pay him his salary as he would have earned in the company, doing manufacturing or accounting or whatever work he wants to do. He'll keep on getting that salary, but he will work on his research in the institute for 3 years. After those 3 years, he has to make up his mind whether he wants to join the company or continue with his research. So it's entirely an individual situation. We cannot have a rule to say that, look, everyone joins the company. If he wants to join, fine. If he doesn't want to join, after 3 years, he will lose that job, which is held reserved for him at the start of the 3-year period. Because remember, the company also is a commercial organization. We don't want to be in a situation where we have 80% of our people doing research on matters which don't concern the company.
My name is Robin, sir. So I had a question. Tatas have also been known as companies that have joined hand with some of the best companies across the world to start business in India. We have Tesco that they've tied up with.
We had many other companies.
Yes.
Many other companies in the past,
Yes.
including IBM.
Yes. And sir, my question is, for an astute company such as Tata's, how difficult is the process of choosing a partner, this partner that can do business here? And what are the challenges therein?
In the 90s, after the government opened up for the first time, Tata's was the first port of call for any company. I can name Unisys, IBM, many others, Timken, American companies, who formed joint ventures with Tata's. But we knew, and they aspired, that once they were well established in India, and they came to know the Indian way of life, so to speak, they would want to separate, have a happy divorce. This is exactly what has happened. We had Tata IBM, we had Tata Unisys, we had Tata Timken, and a host of other companies who we held their hand and operated as 50-50 partners. Once the company from abroad decided that they know enough of India, and they would want to be on their own, we happily agreed to the divorce. No point in holding on to a partner who does not want to remain your partner.
Good afternoon, sir. Just to broaden up the perspective from CEO to the business level, right? As an entrepreneur, as a businessman, what are the things that a person should be looking from business, which can be really successful business? Because there are a few old horse businesses like steel and cement, which are very profitable, right? And there are a few new age businesses like e-commerce, which are though big in volume, but they are not making so big profit per se. So how to really identify a good business?
You should go to the Entrepreneur Development Center, which is just a few kilometers from here, under Dr. Avasti, rather than ask me that question. But seriously, nobody can do all the things, right? No organization, even Tata's. And we have purposely chosen to stay away from some. For example, we have chosen away, the most popular example I give is that we have chosen to stay away from the film world. Right, very profitable, I'm told, but also very dangerous because of the fact that the